Yes, everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is Performance Analysis. Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1 at Old Trafford. And we saw a Jose Mourinho tactical masterclass, exactly how we said it was going to go down. Jurgen Klopp was going to play the same way that he always plays, and Jose Mourinho was hopefully going to find a way to nullify that, hit them on the break, and use United's assets to win the game, which he did, although I have to say the second half we rode our luck more than just a little bit. Now, let's get into the reasons that Manchester United won the game. And I'm going to pick out 3 reasons that we won the game. They're not the 3 reasons that we won the game. These are 3 things that I want to talk about, which, in my opinion, was key factors in us winning the game. The first of those is Lukaku. The second of those is Scott McTominay's performance and the wider impact of what Scott McTominay has started to achieve at Manchester United. And finally, I want to talk about parking the bus and how you actually park the bus in a tactical sense. So the first thing we're going to talk about then is Romelu Lukaku. Now, Lukaku's got a lot of stick for not scoring a hatful of goals in the big games, but he does turn up when he's given the opportunity and when he's given a job and a role in the big games. Now, yesterday, he was given a lot of credit for how he held the ball up, which is absolutely correct, and how he targeted Lovren to create the chances for the goals that we scored. But that's not exactly how it went down. One of the most frequent passes yesterday for United was David De Gea to Lukaku. Now, we see that all season, and from where I'm sat in the Stretford end, you actually see the full view of the pitch. It's literally just a tactical view of the pitch that you see, and you see time and time again from goal kicks and stuff like that. De Gea slinging it up for Lukaku, but there's no one runs beyond him. You very rarely get a player running in behind him. He will win those headers against most teams. He will most of the time win those aerial challenges against whoever he's facing. But most of the time he heads it on to one of the opposition centre-halves. It's a little bit of a waste. That didn't happen this weekend. Against Liverpool, there was a runner in behind, and I'm sure it was a thought of Jose Mourinho's to target the left fullback. I think targeting the left fullback was a good option. The right fullback, left as we look at it, our left-hand side. And I think the way that he flicked the ball on, Rashford's there all the time for that sort of stuff. We saw a lot of the time last season with Zlatan. Zlatan's average position would be, a little bit more conservative, and Rashford would always be like slingshotting ahead of him. And the reason for that is like Rashford gets forward all the time. He gambles on stuff and he gets into those positions. And I think, well, as you can see from the touch map here, the most of the time that Lukaku spent, it was actually in front of Virgil van Dijk. And he only actually came over to the other side, our left-hand side, a few times. When he did actually bully Lovren. He had a great time against Lovren, but I don't think we necessarily targeted him. It's just where he found the most success. He was operating as a real leader of the line. He was working across both centre-halves. He was coming deep. He was holding the ball up. He was bringing others into play. There was a couple of times he played a phenomenal ball in for Matic and a phenomenal ball in for Sanchez, finding both of those in space and creating opportunities for other players. That is the main role of a target man striker, and I think he's developed that and added that to the side of his game while he's been at Manchester United. He's shown versatility in all of these games without scoring so many goals. Obviously, he's contributed with a similar sort of assist and flick like he did in this game against Spurs. And he's going to finish the season on about 30 goals, probably 30 plus goals, 31, 32 goals I would expect. And I think his confidence is high after another good showing for us. So Romelu Lukaku, definitely one of the reasons. I mean, without the assist, we wouldn't have scored the goal. But I definitely think that he's showing up in the big games and he's doing the job that Jose Mourinho is asking him to do. And he's growing into the role because I think that there has been issues with him in the bigger games. I think most of that's down to the supply. But like in this sort of instance, he can come and help out the team in other ways. So big plus there, Romelu Lukaku. The next one we're going to talk about is Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay was not our best midfielder yesterday. The honour of that goes to Nemanja Matic. 10 tackles, 5 on Mo Salah alone. He really helped United's low block, and I'll get into the low block a little bit later when I'm talking about how we actually park the bus. That's the stability we need in midfield. But he can't do it on his own, and he definitely needed, alongside him, Scott McTominay. Nemanja Matic is a Premier League winner. This is Serbian international. That's meant to be expected. But Scott McTominay, It's his 10th league appearance. 10th league appearance. This is the sort of experience that we're dealing with here. He's earning the trust of Jose Mourinho. He's earning the trust of the fans. It was a professional, intelligent, commanding performance this weekend. He's doing the simple things right. 24 out of 25 passes completed. 96% pass completion. Literally the best in the game. It's as simple as that. Literally the best in the game. Scott McTominay in the biggest of games pulling out the best pass completion. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it was all sideways and back. There was actually quite a few attacking passes in there. The one he misplaced was a lofted long ball. But he's doing the simple things right, and I think that's something that Jose Mourinho is going to be really liking about him. These are the sort of players that managers love. Keep it stupidly simple. You know, grow into the game. Find your experience by playing in these games, but keep it simply and keep it stupidly simple. And I think Jose Mourinho is telling him that. Find someone more creative with the ball, with an easy pass, and you do the stuff that I'm asking you to do when it's tracking, marking, picking different players up, occupying different positions, and moving the ball up the field. And I think Scott McTominay is absolutely doing that. Minimising mistakes. You know, Jose doesn't play youth. We might as well shut the gates of Carrington. These were the sort of things that people were saying when Jose Mourinho took over at Manchester United. And then here we go. We've got a homegrown enigma in Marcus Rashford scoring the winner. And then the quiet professionalism of Scott McTominay providing in a real stellar, proper good performance. Like I said, I thought Matic just outshone him a little bit. But that's the Nemanja Matic. What Scott did definitely requires talking about, and he's proven a lot of people, including myself, wrong about what his job and his role in the squad might be coming forward. Now I think we've got an issue because I still think 4-3-3 gets the best out of this squad. But how do you accommodate all the players that we've got? You know, when you include Sanchez and Rashford and Marshall and Lukaku and Juan Mata doesn't deserve to be dropped at all. So and even Jesse Lingard. So there's a lot of people competing for not many places at the moment, and Scott is putting his hand in the air and throwing it in the ring, and fair play to him at the moment. So I thought Scott's performance was simple but very, very effective, and we wouldn't have been winning that game yesterday without the composure that he showed. I thought it was quite clear. He when Fellaini came on, he looked nowhere near the level of what McTominay has been putting out. He looked like a walking mistake. So I'm thinking, given the option of someone that can hold the ball and do the simple things and minimise mistakes, because it's mistakes that cost you in games of this magnitude. Minimise mistakes. But I think Scott's got fewer mistakes in him than Marouane Fellaini has. So I think Marouane Fellaini is going to have to stand behind him in the queue. And if he's looking at moving clubs in the summer, then why should we give him a queue jump ahead of Scott McTominay, who's putting in performances exactly like this? So let's talk about the actual tactics then. The formation, how Manchester United lined up. What are United and Liverpool trying to do to win this game? United set up, I thought, and I probably sort of still do think, in a 4-2-3-1. But if you look here at the average touch of all the players, this looks very much like a 4-2-2. You see the constant spine throughout the middle. The fullbacks are a little bit further back than they were in the game against Chelsea. Mega understandable because of the threat posed by the entire front three of Liverpool. But if you look at the core, only Marcus Rashford sort of deviates to the left a little bit there of this really strong core. Mata lining up there alongside Sanchez. Wasn't quite seeing that on the pitch. It did look like Sanchez was central. Mata, maybe his average touch has been pulled back by how far deep he defended, and obviously he drifts over to the left hand side, but on the average touches that looks like a 4-2-2 to me. And I thought I was talking up the capabilities of the 4-2-2, especially against the fluid forward line of Liverpool in the build-up to the match. 4-2-2, I think, works brilliantly well against a back three for numerous reasons. But I also think it coincidentally just works quite well against the fluid forward three of Liverpool. Your two number sixes are allowed to track one of the really dangerous forward players that they've got, the two wide players that they have, doubling up a little bit with the fullbacks. Your two other attacking midfielders, they're going to peel wide and they're going to start to deal with the two attacking fullbacks in a way. And that gives you a lot of stability throughout the forward line. Then if you've got two forwards, they can start to press from the front. Now, United didn't really press from the front at all yesterday, and one of the things that I noticed in the build up to the game, I said, this Liverpool team, it flatters a little bit. The pundits have given it credit that I'm not sure that they 100% deserve. The way they play football, when they get into the final third, it's pretty good. But their build-up play reminds me a lot of the City team of last year, where you're holding it in between your goalkeeper and your centre-halves. Not so much with Liverpool that it's the goalkeeper getting involved, but it's the centre-halves and Chan that really sort the build-up play. They're happy to have the ball in those areas, probing, going to the left, going to the right, knock it back along the back four, what's going on, searching and probing down the channels. But they don't hold it in midfield, and they certainly don't hold it. The amount of touches that their forward three players get in games isn't that much. And what they do is they want you to initiate the gegenpress on them. They want you to try and take it off their centre-halves. And I thought, if you play two up front against Liverpool, in a 4-2-2 or in a 4-4-2 diamond, Marcus Rashford's natural instinct is to go and chase that. And it is to go and get after them. And it is to go and put pressure on the person that's in the ball like that. Didn't actually see that really too much yesterday. We didn't really see that particular aspect, which was the reason behind me wanting to play that formation too much yesterday. But what we did notice, because of the way the number sixes were sort of tracking their inside runners, because they always like to come inside Salah and Mane, and the way that mostly Rashford, but also Sanchez at times and Mata sort of picked up the fullbacks a little bit, it left Van Dijk and Lovren in possession, and they was looking to hit it long into the channels. They was looking to hit it over the top, and we basically forced Liverpool to go long. Now, the way they like to play it normally is they will sort of tease you a little bit at centre-half, and they're looking for you to try and press, and they're looking for you to have somebody step out of that line. Now, if you're in a block, you're in a nice tight formation, your defence is just sitting here. When someone goes, oh bollocks, I'm going to go on after the ball, that's going to leave somebody unmarked. So when they go forward, that's when they're able to then switch it up, go fast, go one touch, get behind you and start getting in behind that defence. That's what they do very well. What Manchester United did brilliantly yesterday was not react. Give them the ball. The reason I think Danny Higginbottom's one of the best, and I put him in the category of Carragher and Neville. I don't really hear Carragher saying things like this so much. Definitely Neville, but definitely Danny Higginbottom. One of the main reasons why I really like him, he says in these big games, you have to be willing to give somebody something. There's always a trade-off. Very, very few teams, Manchester City at the moment, the form they're in, mind you, the form they're in is not actually great. The form they was in before Christmas, at least, they could probably just turn up and just play. And I imagine they turn up to most games and just play, and the tactical input that they're having is quite minimal. But for everybody else, you have to be able to give and take. You have to say, right, well, we can't physically beat you in every single area. We can't out-muscle you, we can't outwork you, we can't do this, and this, as well as doing this, and this. So you have to go, right, we'll give them that, and we'll take this. And we'll give them that, and we'll take this. Danny Higginbottom's example that he gives is Tony Pulis' Stoke. What they used to do is they used to have a 10-a-side match right in the centre of a pitch where they would clog it up and make it a bit like a rugby field. But they would leave the wings nice and free. So they would be looking to get the ball into the channels and play football in the wings. And then when they come up against a big team, a Liverpool, a Chelsea, a Manchester United that are looking to try and play it through the middle, those players are taking an extra touch because of the bobble that's happening on the pitch, because the pitch is lower quality and a quagmire in the centre of the pitch. And Stoke played that to their strengths. They knew that they was going to out-muscle every team that they played against. They knew they was very good at set pieces, and they knew that if they could get the ball into the channels in the wings, then they could get crosses into the box, and they could potentially hurt you on the counter. And they defended deep, and they defended aggressively doing so. So when you listen to tacticians that have played with the likes of Tony Pulis and the likes of... Actually, Sam Allardyce is a brilliant tactician as well. Maybe not so much a tactician, but there's things in the game that I think you can really pick up from listening to the things that Sam Allardyce talks about. And I think Jose Mourinho is a master at this because he understands his own team's strengths and his own team's weaknesses. In bigger games, Jose Mourinho, for most of his career up until the last couple of years, used to go 1-0 up and then start to shut the shop. But he's not been doing that at Manchester United. He continues to attack, knowing that 1 goal generally isn't enough, but 2 goals is enough. And I think that's what we saw a little bit of yesterday against Liverpool. 2 goals is enough. Once we've got 2 goals, get to half-time with a clean sheet. Get the lads in at half-time. Right, boys, here's what we're going to do. And I think he preempted certain things coming from Jurgen Klopp's side. Jurgen Klopp was going to put on a slightly more attacking midfielder, which he did, and he was going to push his fullbacks a bit further forward to help the likes of Salah and Mane get onto the ball, which he did. They almost stopped resorting to the long ball, partly because of the way United sat back. And I'm not sure what was the cause and what was the reaction in this part. But partly because United started to sit so deep. We moved into the low block, and the low block is essentially a back 6. And we saw Mata on the right-hand side helping out Tony Valencia. So before you got to Valencia, you've got to get past Mata, and that is literally as a right fullback. The same sort of thing with Rashford. You've got to get past Rashford before you get to Young, and then you've got your midfield 3, if you like, of Sanchez, McTominay, and Matic, and then Lukaku being your single outlet. Now, I understand it. I'm not necessarily in agreement with it. I think that you can still be... I think the way we played in the first half would have still worked in the second half. Jose Mourinho perhaps didn't have the confidence in our ability to shut Liverpool out. Maybe he thought they was getting too many touches in the first half and decided he wanted to shut that down. Now, the proof that he shut that down is because we started making Liverpool resort to long shots. Excuse me. And Liverpool didn't register a shot on target in the second half, which means that, yes, we give them their possession and we give them the territory and we allowed them to come onto us, but Mourinho's plan worked. That back 6, the 6-3-1, if you want to call it that, worked. And it worked because we didn't allow them a shot on goal. The only goal that they scored was an own goal and a fluke from Eric Bailly. So in the second half, despite all the pressure that they enjoyed, Liverpool didn't register a single shot on target, and the 2-goal cushion was enough, despite how nervy that last 10 minutes was. And some of the penalty claims might be legit, in all honesty. They might have been legit. On other days, you've seen them given. They wasn't given this time. Not going to be crying over spilt milk. The objective of these games is to win these games. Manchester United and Jose Mourinho turned up and won it. For me, it was a tactical masterpiece. Visually, it was good in the first half, and I think probably as a neutral, it was an excellent back-and-forth game of football. But once United had that 2-goal lead, we had earned... Now listen, I think this is really important. Manchester United earned the right to play defensively then, and to allow Liverpool to come onto us and go, you need to break us down. This is the game. You need to break us down. We've earned the right to do what we want. Similar to the way we did it with Arsenal, except with Arsenal it was a lot quicker, and I think it changed into that low block way faster in the first half than it did against Liverpool, which I think was mostly from half-time onwards. But no, you have to mitigate the risks posed by teams that are going... When they're 2-0 down, they've got nothing to lose by going 3-0 down. They're going to pour forward. You've got to mitigate those risks to get the 3 points. And that's why Jose Mourinho is a better manager than Arsene Wenger. That's why he's a better manager than Jurgen Klopp and Pochettino as well. So I think that in this instance, I think that it was excellent game management from Jose Mourinho. And all that matters is we come away with the 3 points and we defended our lead very well. And there were some excellent individual performances, the lads I've mentioned, plus McTominay. And I thought Matic and Ashley Young especially dealt with Mo Salah's threat brilliantly between the two of them. They was dirty when they needed to be. They was physical when they needed to be. But they was always there. And he didn't really get a sniff in the game. I knew their midfield wasn't going to cause much of a threat. They don't really play through the midfield in a City style or a Barcelona style. They tend to bypass their midfield. So I thought you could almost allow their midfield to come onto you a little bit. But it was an excellent result. So let's get past Sevilla in the Champions League, and maybe we'll see them again. And maybe, because Jurgen Klopp doesn't change his tactics, maybe we'll see the exact repeat performance, and it might push United into a semi-final. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. And if you want some more behind-the-scenes stuff, some exclusive videos where I give you any of the inside info that I'm getting in at United, then check out the Patreon link in the description below and come and join the fun that's going on there. You've got exclusive videos, members-only access, early access to things like the warm-down, all that sort of good stuff. And if you're into that kind of thing, then that is the place for you. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.